The sun rose gently over the forest, bathing the world in its golden, serene light. Dew sparkled on leaves, trembling like diamonds. A gentle breeze rustled through the trees, carrying the freshness of dawn. The disciples sat under a banyan tree, its shade comforting and wide. Their robes rustled softly as they adjusted their seating positions. Ananda sat among them, his gaze distant and troubled. His brow was furrowed, betraying the burden of his thoughts. He bowed low to the Buddha and spoke in earnest tones. "Blessed One," said Ananda, his voice laced with sorrow and yearning, "I have sought happiness and yet find it slipping through my grasp." His words hung in the air, heavy with their unspoken echoes. "Happiness feels like a mirage, dissolving the moment I try to hold it close." Ananda paused, searching the Buddha's serene face for answers that might bring clarity. The Buddha met his gaze with profound kindness, his eyes deep pools of understanding. "Ananda," began the Buddha, his voice steady, calm, and resonant, "your question strikes at the heart of human longing. A universal pursuit indeed." His disciples shifted slightly, their attention drawn even closer to him. All beings wish for happiness, yet few truly understand its nature or where to find it. The Buddha's words seemed to still even the rustling leaves overhead. "Let us explore this matter together, for it is worthy of deep reflection." The Buddha looked around, his gaze soft and unhurried, taking in the beauty of the moment. "Happiness is not like the moon hidden behind clouds, nor is it far away like the stars," he continued. "It is near, often overlooked, and hidden within the folds of our daily lives." Ananda's brow furrowed slightly, his thoughts churning under the weight of the Buddha's words. "Let me tell you a story, one that may illuminate the nature of true joy." The disciples leaned forward subtly, their curiosity piqued and their hearts open. The Buddha began his tale, weaving words with the rhythm and cadence of timeless wisdom. "There once lived a man, Suddhaka, in a distant village nestled among the green hills and streams," he said. Suddhaka was a simple man, living with little, cherishing the small joys that life offered him. The Buddha paused briefly, letting his words settle like dew on a leaf. Suddhaka had a garden where a koel bird would sing each dawn, its melody soothing his spirit amid his struggles. His voice seemed to carry the faint echo of the koel's song, gentle and melodic. To Suddhaka, that song was a gift, a moment of respite amid the hardships of daily life. Ananda nodded slightly, his face showing traces of the calm brought by imagining the koel's melody. The Buddha smiled softly, seeing the effect his words had on his disciples, but there came a time when Suddhaka grew weary of his poverty and longed for something more. The Buddha continued, believing that wealth would bring him lasting happiness. He resolved to seek it far and wide. The disciples exchanged glances, the tale stirring thoughts of their own desires and longings. Suddhaka journeyed to distant cities and kingdoms, working tirelessly to accumulate gold, jewels, and all forms of riches. The Buddha's voice carried a tone of quiet reflection, as if he too felt the weight of Suddhaka's journey. Years passed, and Suddhaka finally returned to his village, his bags heavy with wealth and fortune. The Buddha paused, letting the gravity of the moment sink into the disciples' hearts. But when the koel sang its familiar song, it failed to stir his heart as it once did. A hushed silence fell over the disciples, their minds grappling with the meaning of this change. Suddhaka, for all his riches, felt a hollowness within, a longing that wealth could not quell. Ananda tilted his head slightly, his thoughts swirling with questions about the nature of Suddhaka's emptiness. The Buddha continued with a soft yet resonant tone, his wisdom flowing like a gentle stream. "Happiness found in external possessions is fleeting, like clouds that dissolve in the heat of the sun," he said. "True joy arises from mindfulness, gratitude, and the deep interconnectedness of all existence." The Buddha's words seemed to carry the cadence of the koel's song, as if the lesson itself were sung by nature. When Suddhaka cherished the koel's melody, he was fully present, appreciating the beauty of the world as it was. The Buddha's gaze moved across the faces of his disciples, his words filling the air with the energy of realization. True joy lies in simplicity, in the awareness that beauty is abundant in every breath and every moment. The disciples nodded, slowly, their minds and hearts absorbing the essence of the teaching. Ananda spoke again, his voice tinged with newfound curiosity and yearning. Blessed One, does this mean that joy is always with us, waiting to be seen and embraced? The Buddha smiled gently, his presence calming as the wind through the trees. Indeed, Ananda, he said, joy is not a treasure hidden away, nor a distant prize to be sought. His words carried the weight of profound truth, touching each disciple deeply. Joy is here, within and around us, like the song of the koel that graced Suddhaka's mornings. The Buddha closed his eyes briefly, savoring the serenity of the moment as he continued. When we open our hearts to the interconnectedness of all beings, joy arises naturally, unbidden. Ananda's face softened as the lesson settled within him, his troubled expression giving way to quiet contemplation. Let us practice together, Ananda, for understanding joy is not merely a thought, but a living experience. The Buddha shifted slightly, gesturing for his disciples to begin their meditation, their practice of mindfulness. The disciples closed their eyes, their breaths steady, the world around them dissolving into stillness. Ananda joined them, his heart open to the teaching, his mind eager to explore joy's true nature. The banyan tree stood tall above them, its roots deep and its shade wide, a silent witness to their journey. The koel bird sang somewhere in the distance, its melody weaving into the fabric of the forest's life. The disciples sat with their breaths and thoughts, guided by the Buddha's words and presence. The moments stretched, timeless and profound, as the nature of true joy began to unfold within them. The Buddha's serene gaze watched over them, his teaching resonating in the stillness of their practice. The forest seemed to embrace them, the sunlight filtering through leaves, the breeze carrying whispers of interconnectedness. Joy, quiet and humble, blossomed like a lotus within the silence, filling the air with its fragrance. Ananda opened his eyes slowly, his gaze steady yet soft, his heart lighter, as if touched by the koel's song. The Buddha smiled, his presence a reminder that true joy is found not in pursuit, but in presence and understanding. The disciples rose from their meditation, their breaths even, their hearts calm. They bowed to the Buddha, gratitude shining in their eyes and actions. The banyan tree stood rooted, its branches a testament to the lesson they had received and understood. The koel bird sang once more, its melody dissolving into the quiet embrace of the dawn's serenity. Ananda stood taller, his face brighter, his question answered not in words alone but in experience. The Buddha turned to them and spoke one final word before silence reclaimed the forest. Let us go forward, mindful and connected, and let joy accompany us like a shadow. His disciples followed, their hearts lifted by the gentle radiance of his teachings, their steps steady, their spirits light. The forest remained behind them, yet its beauty and stillness followed wherever they walked. Another day began with the gentle light of dawn spreading across Jetavana, the forest tranquil and brimming with life. The banyan tree stood steadfast under the shifting sky, its roots deep within the earth's embrace. Buddha turned to his disciples, eyes serene. Observe, dear ones. He bowed reverently before the Buddha, the sage whose presence brought calm to the restless minds of his followers. Blessed One, said Ananda, his voice measured yet carrying a subtle note of inquiry. You spoke of joy arising through mindfulness. He paused, searching the Buddha's serene expression for further wisdom that could resolve the puzzle within him. Yet the world around us tempts the mind with pleasures that vanish like the koel's fleeting song. He continued. The forest seemed to hold its breath, its inhabitants quiet and watchful, their hearts open to the dialogue unfolding. The Buddha's gaze rested on Ananda with profound compassion, his eyes reflecting the depth of his understanding. "Ananda," he began, his voice steady yet resonating with timeless wisdom, "true joy lies in neither clinging nor avoiding." The disciples shifted slightly, their curiosity aroused by the enigma carried within his words. Let us reflect on this together. For joy's nature cannot be fully seen with the mind clouded by craving or aversion. The Buddha glanced at the forest canopy, his gaze lingering on the sunlight filtering through the leaves. "Consider the koel bird that sings," he said, its melody unburdened by thoughts of who hears or appreciates it. His disciples nodded subtly, their minds reflecting on the beauty of the bird's melody and its unintentional gift to the world. "The koel sings because it is its nature," he continued, free of attachment and expectation, embodying the purity of joy in existence. Ananda listened intently, his expression revealing the unfolding of realizations and reflections within his heart. The Buddha turned his attention to the banyan tree, its vast and grounding presence a metaphor for the teachings at hand. "The banyan tree spreads its roots wide, giving shade and shelter without thought of reward or recognition," he said. "It exemplifies interconnectedness, the joy of existing in service to the whole." The forest buzzed gently with life as the Buddha spoke, his teachings resonating with the natural order of the world around them. "Joy is not a possession to be grasped," he continued, "nor is it a prize to be won." His words carried the weight of profound truth, touching each disciple's heart and stirring their reflection deeply. True joy arises when the self dissolves into the collective and the moment is embraced in its entirety. The disciples exchanged glances, their minds grappling with the simplicity yet complexity of the truth spoken before them. Ananda's brow furrowed slightly, his thoughts attempting to reconcile the teachings with the desires and longings of the human heart. "Blessed One, how does one learn to dissolve the self and embrace the moment as you have described?" he asked. His question carried the yearning of humanity, the search for wisdom that alleviates the burdens of life. The Buddha's expression softened, his presence calming and illuminating the paths to understanding through his words. "Ananda, let me share with you the story of Suddhaka once more," he said, his voice measured and resonant. In his moments of stillness, listening to the koel's song, Suddhaka lived without thought of past or future. The Buddha paused briefly, allowing the depth of the tale's meaning to unfold within the minds of his disciples. In those moments, he continued, Suddhaka experienced true joy, unclouded by desire, regret, or anticipation, a purity of being in harmony. Ananda tilted his head slightly, his thoughts swirling as he recognized the essence of mindfulness within the tale. The Buddha's gaze rested on him, steady and filled with compassion, a mirror of the interconnectedness he spoke of. To dissolve the self, one must embrace the Eightfold Path, he said, living with wisdom, virtue, and concentration. The forest seemed to echo the Buddha's teachings as the wind carried the sound of his voice. Through its canopy, right view and right intention illuminate the truth of suffering and its cessation, he said, guiding the mind toward clarity. Ananda's eyes brightened slightly, his heart stirred by the guidance he received from the Buddha's words. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood cultivate virtue, supporting life in harmony with oneself and others, the Buddha continued. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration strengthen the heart's resolve to remain present and undistracted, he said. Through these practices, joy arises naturally, not as a pursuit but as the essence of existence. The disciples nodded slowly, their hearts attuned to the teachings as the Buddha's wisdom resonated deeply within them. The banyan tree seemed to embody the teachings itself, its branches spreading wide to shelter all without discrimination. The Buddha gestured gently for his disciples to begin their practice, their meditation under the canopy of the banyan tree. Ananda joined them, his heart open to the teachings, his mind eager to explore the nature of true joy. The koel bird sang somewhere in the distance, its melody weaving into the fabric of the forest's life. The moments stretched, timeless and profound, as joy unfolded quietly within the stillness of their practice. The forest embraced them gently, its beauty and life resonating with the teachings and the mindfulness they cultivated. Joy blossomed within them, quiet and humble, filling the air with its fragrance. Interwoven with the koel's song, Ananda opened his eyes slowly, his gaze steady yet soft, his heart lighter as the nature of joy became clearer. The Buddha smiled, his serene presence a reminder of joy's essence in mindfulness and interconnectedness. The disciples rose from their meditation, their breaths steady and their hearts light, their spirits touched by wisdom and presence. They bowed to the Buddha, gratitude shining in their actions and expressions as his teachings enriched their understanding. The banyan tree stood rooted, a witness to the unfolding of their journey toward wisdom and interconnectedness. The koel bird sang once more, its melody dissolving into the quiet embrace of the dawn's serenity. The Buddha turned to them, his gaze calm yet filled with the silent strength of his teachings and presence. "Let us go forward," he said, mindful and attuned to the moment, carrying joy as naturally as the koel sings. The disciples followed him, their steps steady, their spirits lifted by the gentle radiance of his wisdom and teachings. The forest remained behind them, yet its beauty and stillness followed wherever they walked. Another day, the forest awakened with the gentle murmur of life, the banyan tree standing steadfast under the wide sky. Sunlight filtered softly through the leaves, painting the ground in dappled hues of gold and green. The disciples gathered quietly under the tree, their robes blending into the natural tapestry of their serene surroundings. Ananda sat among them, his face calm yet attentive, his heart open to the teachings that would unfold. He bowed low before the Buddha, his hands joined in reverence, seeking wisdom with humble intent. "Blessed One," said Ananda, his voice steady yet carrying the weight of unspoken questions. "You spoke of joy arising through interconnectedness." His words hovered in the still air, inviting clarity and guidance from the sage seated before him. How does one live a life where joy blossoms in every breath, untouched by loss, change, or fleeting desires? The banyan tree's branches seemed to echo the question, reaching skyward as if seeking answers from the heavens. The Buddha gazed upon Ananda with eyes filled with profound compassion, the depth of his wisdom infinite and unwavering. "Ananda," he began, his voice calm, steady, and resonant. "Life is like a stream that flows, ever changing and never stagnant." His disciples leaned in slightly, their hearts and minds attuned to the cadence of his words. Rich with truth, true joy does not resist change, nor does it fear loss, for it understands the nature of impermanence. The Buddha turned his gaze to the forest canopy, its interplay of light and shadow embodying the dance of impermanence. "Consider the koel bird that sings," he said, its melody a fleeting gift, beautiful because it cannot be held forever. Ananda tilted his head slightly, his thoughts swirling with the realization woven into the song of the bird. The koel's song arises and fades, yet its essence remains, carried forward by the interconnectedness of life itself. The disciples listened intently, their breaths steady and their minds open to the wisdom unfolding before them. "Let me share with you a story," the Buddha continued, "one that may illuminate the path to true joy." The forest seemed to hold its breath, its life attuned to the words that resonated through its stillness. There once lived a woman, Sujata, whose life revolved around her family, her fields, and the seasons that governed them. The Buddha paused briefly, allowing the imagery of Sujata's life to settle in the minds of his disciples. Enriching the story, Sujata found joy in the laughter of her children, the growth of her crops, and the rhythms of her days. His voice carried the melody of life's simplicity, its quiet harmonies resonating with the hearts of those who listened. But the seasons changed. Her crops failed, and sorrow touched her home, leaving her heart heavy with loss. Ananda's face reflected a mix of emotions as the tale unfolded. The shared experience of human longing and grief touching his soul. The Buddha's gaze rested on him, his presence calming and illuminating the path to understanding. Sujata mourned deeply, yearning for the joy that had seemed so abundant before the winds of change swept it away, he said. Yet, in her grief, she noticed the koel's song, its melody unchanged despite the shifting seasons. The Buddha's words carried the echo of the koel's melody, weaving the rhythm of nature into the fabric of his teachings. The koel sang not for joy or sorrow, but for existence itself, embracing the present moment without thought of what came before. The disciples exchanged glances, their minds and hearts absorbing the wisdom that unfolded like the petals of a lotus. Sujata came to understand that joy does not reside in what we cling to, but in the beauty of presence. The forest buzzed gently with life as the Buddha's teachings resonated with the natural order, the interconnectedness of existence. Through her mindfulness, Sujata embraced impermanence, finding joy even in loss and gratitude even in fleeting moments, he said. His words touched each disciple deeply, stirring reflections on their own lives, their own attachments and fears. Joy is not the absence of sorrow. It is the light that shines even in the shadow of impermanence. The disciples bowed their heads slightly, their minds reverberating with the truth carried within the tale of Sujata and her journey. Ananda's face softened, the wisdom shared unfolding within his heart, touching the edges of his unspoken longings. Blessed One, how can we learn to live as Sujata did, embracing impermanence and finding joy in every moment? He asked. His question carried the yearning of humanity, the search for wisdom that transcends suffering and impermanence. The Buddha's expression remained serene, his presence calming, his teachings a beacon guiding them toward understanding. Ananda, let us reflect on the Noble Eightfold Path once more, he said. For it is a map to joy's essence. The banyan tree seemed to embody the teachings itself, its roots deep within the earth, its branches wide and sheltering. Right view and right intention teach us to see clearly, understanding suffering and the impermanence that threads through all existence. Ananda tilted his head slightly, his thoughts aligning with the truths unfolding within the Buddha's guidance. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood guide us toward harmony, fostering interconnectedness that nurtures joy even in sorrow, he said. His disciples listened intently, their breaths steady, their hearts attuned to the teachings resonating through the still air. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration strengthen us, ensuring our presence remains undistracted by cravings and aversions. The Buddha's gaze rested on the disciples, his expression a mirror of interconnectedness and the simplicity of wisdom shared. Through these practices, the light of joy shines naturally, undiminished by the shadows of impermanence and loss, he said. The banyan tree stood tall, its presence grounding, its shade wide, a silent testament to the teachings shared beneath its canopy. Joy arises not from what we hold, but from what we release. From the freedom found in letting go, the koel bird sang somewhere in the distance, its melody interwoven with the fabric of the forest's life and wisdom. The Buddha's teachings flowed like a gentle stream, their rhythm calming and resonating with the interconnectedness of existence. "Ananda, let us practice together," he said. "For understanding joy is not merely a thought but a living experience." The disciples closed their eyes, their breaths steady, their minds open to the stillness that embraced them. The forest held them gently, its life and beauty resonating with the teachings, the wisdom cultivated through their practice. Joy blossomed within them, quiet and humble, filling the air with its fragrance, interwoven with the koel's song. Ananda opened his eyes slowly, his gaze steady yet soft, his heart lighter as the nature of joy became clearer. The Buddha smiled, his serene presence a reminder of joy's essence in mindfulness and interconnectedness. The disciples rose from their meditation, their breaths steady, their hearts calm, touched by the wisdom shared and practiced. They bowed to the Buddha, gratitude shining in their actions and expressions as his teachings enriched their understanding. The banyan tree stood rooted, a witness to the unfolding of their journey, its shelter wide and its presence grounding. The koel bird sang once more, its melody dissolving into the quiet embrace of the dawn's serenity. The Buddha turned to his disciples, his gaze calm yet filled with the silent strength of his teachings and presence. "Let us walk forward," he said, mindful and attuned to the moment, carrying joy like the koel carries its song. The disciples followed him, their steps steady, their spirits lifted by the gentle radiance of his wisdom and teachings. The forest remained behind them, yet its beauty and stillness followed wherever they walked. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.